Vapor said something about new patch and DLC of AoE2. Do you miss the last streams? Sorry, what is AoE2? I'm a Warcraft streamer. Hello, follow Grubby.
Why are your surrounds so good?
I learned it like 3-4 years ago from you, man.
You remembered well. That was nice.
Thank you.
Yesterday, after you had to step away from the stream to settle some things, you played a little bit off stream.
Yes.
Went pretty well.
I would agree with that.
I watched some of those.
Okay.
You said you had one loss.
I had one loss, but that's because I had to go to the baby.
It's
Just
not because
wanna-
you were levels lower, you had to leave.
Yeah, obviously. Just trying to point out that the win streak was even more impressive.
Okay, you're almost 1200. Nice.
Very close.
What are your biggest struggles, sir?
Oof. Okay. Much time do you have?
I see.
No, I think right now I'm struggling the most with decision making around 50 supply. I think also partly item management, but that's something I don't think you can help me with. That's just me needing to switch my focus, because I have kind of gotten a decent understanding of what is good on what. But what I struggle with, I think, a lot at the moment is like, okay, I have 50 supply. Game has been kind of even so far. I'm running around on the map, and I'm like, okay, am I supposed to creep now? Am I supposed to expand? Am I supposed to attack? Am I supposed to just contain? Which I've done a few times, which was wrong.
Decision making from 50 pop onwards, I think, is a very interesting concept. Let's load up some replays.
Okay.
So we can talk over them. Would you like them to be yours, or could they be anyone's?
Could be anyone's.
Yeah, because it'll be fresh to you as well.
And there's
Okay,
probably
I'm
more
gonna-
logic behind their movement.
Yeah.
You didn't have to
Man,
laugh
Cash
and
has
say it
been
like that.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I was focusing on something else, so you got my real answer.
Okay,
it was
okay.
not masked
Oh, yeah,
socially,
sorry.
so
Okay, it's fine.
it was a very genuine concession to an obvious truth.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
All good, all good.
Your
I'm not going to quit the
problem
tournament or
matchups?
anything. Yeah, sorry?
Yeah, no. Why would anyone ever do that?
Also, one thing I do, I mess up my base layout quite often, I feel like. I think I've gotten better, but I still mess up. But
Okay.
yeah, I know
Did I teach you build layout before?
you told me about like always keep the 4x4 tiles open, for example, and how the burrows
Right.
are hard wall and such.
Yeah, and to put one peon per burrow instead of all four, and never to put gold
Yeah.
peons in burrow except if they have a crisis event.
Yeah, yeah.
And then what about, do you do the semi-wall off here and then 1 or 2 gap opening here, Max?
I usually never try for a full wall off because I'm scared I mess up.
Don't do full wall off, but you want one half of your base walled off. Like
Okay.
this.
Yeah. But my thoughts is, okay, if I wall off one half, I might accidentally wall off the other half, and then I'm...
Just don't.
Okay. I like the logic there. But see, this guy puts his Voodoo Lounge on the front. Is it just because he's well versed in the game that he feels like he can justify it? Because to me, you told me to put the Voodoo Lounge more to the back.
This Voodoo Lounge, I always put it here as well, except against Pala Rifle.
Okay.
Basically, the shop costs 130 and 30, so it can be easily remade. But losing it at a crucial time can lose you the game, because sometimes when you're in your base, the only way to get instant reinforcement is to guzzle mana and healing potions.
Right.
Even if you were to make a walker, it'd come out 26 seconds later, and it matters right now what's happening. So having a shop in the front of your base that allows you to help defend extra is very useful. And also it cuts down on logistics as you ping pong back to your base to interact with it than if it were at the back.
Makes sense.
It's also completely normal to build now. It's been completely standardized to do one half of the base wall off. The other half is altar against the woods. This is a worker gap, not a hero gap. And then here you leave a 1 or 2 hex worker or a hero gap.
Okay.
Sorry, here you leave a 1 or 2 hex hero gap. By the way, even if altar touch Great Hall, you can still go with hero, so it's fine because they're both soft.
Yeah.
And then the burrow is a bit exposed in this opening, which we don't really like. That's why we put the shop in front.
Makes sense. Okay, that makes sense.
He made the shop touch the burrow, which creates a worker opening, but not a hero opening, which means if you wanted to attack this with grunts and blade, you could reach it with 1 blade and grunt here and 1 here. You also cannot travel behind it. So it feels a bit like a death trap. And in fact, a grunt that spawns outside of the racks would soon be able to surround a grunt here.
Yeah.
So this feels unattractive to attack with large units.
That
and then
makes
if you
sense.
just make sure to to always rotate 90 degrees on the first burrow, which is semi-exposed, aka the first burrow is on this side of the Great Hall, and the next will be on this side, 90 degrees. So not opposite.
Yeah.
Then and you build all your burrows in this direction. Then they all cover each other with a leapfrog, and you keep this space open for a 4x4.
Yeah.
Bestiary will never do a full wall off against Great Hall, so as long as you just completely keep burrows outside of this area, you will never clog this route.
Okay.
My life for the Horde.
Mirror Image or Windwalk against Night Elf?
I'm doing a mirror image I've been playing mirror the last 2 days essentially, and it feels better at the moment. More easier, let's say. Easier.
It is easier, yes.
I feel like also just...
So he built...
I just want to say, I feel like as well, just having those mirror also feels like the fights are way harder for my opponent, and I think that's more important than that it's easier for me.
Yep, I agree. I also only play Mirror Image the last year, but that's because Mirror Image has been newly buffed over the last few years.
Okay.
And I have a lifetime of experience with Windwalk, so I'm just going to keep doing it. It feels really good against Night Elf.
Okay. But do you think it's stronger?
I think it's stronger.
Okay.
Like Cash here has more MMR than me with Orc. He's one of the best Orcs in Europe since 2006. The moment he has more. He was one of my main practice partner, Orc Mirror.
Okay.
I see he's playing Windwalk against Night Elf. I don't know if he really believes it. I see Lynn sometimes play Windwalk against Night Elf as well. It's fine to go Mirror Image. You don't need to copy everything the toppers are doing.
Of course. Copying pros at the moment could be a negative thing as well.
Yeah. You would have had that surround.
Yeah, he should get better at that.
This is game-losingly bad, kind of.
From...
Cash tried to do a greedy camp at the timing where Shadow comes out. So Orc Tech is usually a little faster. I think Orc Tech is about 210 with this opening. Maybe actually, yeah, 210, 215. Let me see. Yeah, 215 tech.
Okay.
Night Elf Tech. He's doing a 2 Moonwell Tech with a shop cancel and then a 10th Wisp at 22 out of 30 with a second Archer. I think this tech is 248 usually. Yeah, could have been 245. Okay. So these are both standard builds. He doesn't have the 3rd Moonwell.
I stand ready.
The tech difference is 30 seconds. So when your hero is out, his hero is halfway out. That means if your hero walks to the middle of the map, his hero is roughly out. And that means that you won't have any hero advantage if you attack, only if you fight on your half. So here you have Blade Shadow against just Demon when Shadow comes out. But if you run to his side, Keeper pops out the moment you get there.
But I mean, you only know that if you're scouting, right?
Yeah, but this is a standard tech timing from Night Elf. Your opponents might be slower, like Lakari, Loco, or anyone else, if they add the 3rd Moonwell, which is often done when people want either Warden or Immolation.
Okay.
And if it's a mana burn, they usually do double Moonwell. Now, again, you're not going to scout this because Orcs don't scout. We can't really afford the income. But you roughly then know the timing. So if the enemy is going for a Tavern Hero, he gets his Tavern Hero at the same time that your hero comes out, or even before. So if someone, like you start your hero is halfway, suddenly a Naga could pop out, and he could run to you and start hitting things. So you need to just buy time and wait for your shadow to come out. Anyway, not to go into too much detail. Basically, he is trying to prevent Demon from getting level 3. And he's kind of fighting illusions and stuff, while the Night Elf... I don't know why the Night Elf is even heading back. This was completely garbage. Maybe he thought Blade will run in and start attacking his Wisp. But oh yeah, that's probably what happened.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was like wind walked. Maybe he thought there's going to be a trick.
Yeah.
Okay, so Elf has vision. Elf has vision.
Elf
Elf has vision of Orc. Okay, he lost vision. Checks, are you taking my expo? You're not. So then Cash thinks Maybe... Oh, he has to take care of the demon. Why did he actually start that camp?
I think
That's
even I
crazy.
wouldn't have done that.
This is so crazy.
Yeah, that seems super greedy.
Does he even have Ultra Vision already? He has Ultra Vision. Oh, he rushed it. He got to tier 2 and immediately got Ultra Vision.
Safeguard the land.
Which gives all the units more vision. What?
Double vision from the enemy. You see
Yeah.
how claustrophobic it looks?
Mm-hmm.
I think Cash assumed that he doesn't have Ultra Vision.
Right.
And he knew that the item from this place was illusion, which he had been dealing with for a minute. And so he thought, if I don't see you, you don't see me. Okay, that's why
Makes
he tried
sense.
it. It's a
Yeah.
very valuable camp if you could snipe it. So that's minus mana burn, minus hex, minus mana burn. Shadow has no mana. And then Keeper shows up. First unit is a free kill. I say free, it's not entirely free because he's trading health off the demon. That's bad entangle usually.
Building is complete.
Oh yeah, he sold his TP,
Got it.
didn't he?
Yeah, yeah, most orc. I saw you haven't started doing this. Always sell the TP.
I have started doing it.
Okay,
I've done it probably 90% of my games with Blade Master so far.
good. Because I just saw an orc mirror from you.
Yeah,
That
I
you
messed
played,
up. It was my
where
first
you-
game of the day. It's how it works.
Okay. Alright.
Our warriors have engaged.
He gets the Ring of the Archmagi. You know, Circlet is like a level up worth of
Mhm.
attributes.
Yeah.
So this is why we sell TP, because the earlier you get a bonus level up, the more it's worth. Like you wouldn't buy a Circlet probably at level 6.
Makes sense. Yeah, I can ask after this game.
So he's not pressuring because he wants Shadow level 3.
Mm-hmm.
Without Shadow 3, no cost efficient healing. My guess is he's going to take the Laboratory next because he wants Shadow 3. He will use Blade partially to DPS the level 6, but then walk away before sharing XP. Oh, he saw the Sentry. He saw the pool on the Troll 6. He doesn't want to give away another camp that's high value.
Makes sense.
But this is gnarly. You would not be able to do this.
Oh, you got
Steals
the
the heal
items.
ward. Heal ward can be sold for 240, which means if you... Go ahead.
I was gonna say, at my level, I would never sell those. They feel so valuable for me.
Correct. I agree. You should never sell them. But it was I was building conclusions.
Right,
So
right.
the heal ward can be sold for 240, which means that any player that keeps them believe their value is over 240, aka 241 or more.
Okay, yeah.
Right? Otherwise, you would sell it.
Why?
Either you think it is worth more than 240, or you think it's less than 240 or at. If it's at, then you flip a coin. If it's worth 239 to you, but you can sell it for 240, then you can earn 1 gold. And you'll be more ahead.
Can you purchase it on the shop for 240?
For 400.
Then isn't it kind of worth 400?
If you're asking whether you'll buy it, then you are comparing it to 400 gold. But
Yeah.
if you're asking whether you'll sell it, it's compared to its selling cost of 60%, which means that it's worth 240 right now.
Supply and demand.
For instance, if I asked you now if you want to buy a heal ward when you already have one, it wouldn't be worth 400. But if
That
you
is
had
true.
all your units low and you were in the middle of the map, then maybe you would buy it, then it's worth 400. So then you would buy it and you wouldn't sell it because it's worth 400, which is 260 more than 240. Anyways, if you thought this item was not going to provide a value to you
Mhm.
equal to 241 or more, then you would sell it now because then you can get something better for it.
Right.
Which means that you just stole 241 plus, whatever it is.
Mhm.
If you even would have bought it if you could, then it's worth 400. But
That's
if you
true.
wouldn't buy it, but you wouldn't sell it, then it's worth between 241 and 399.
Makes sense.
Which means he could have had it too and used the same reasoning. And now you have it if you stole it. So you just had a swing of 480 gold minimum. Because he doesn't have it
That's-
and you do have it.
That sounds pretty big.
Yeah, so stealing like an item and a creep can be extremely valuable when you take it away from an opponent. But yeah, you would need Windwalk for it.
Yeah.
So he didn't creep this, but now he has the item. I would say it's worth it. But now he doesn't want to commit to such a big camp anymore. So he's going to go to a simpler camp. This gets him level 2.95 if he doesn't share with Blade.
Oh, expanding as well.
Okay, that's a little... It's a little risky. So, okay, this is a perfect situation. You talked before
Yeah.
about 50 pop and whether you should creep, pressure, etc., whether you should expand. Expansions that are slow grade hole, not tiny, are options. Canceling it, you get 75% back. You're putting 385 gold in reserve, and you could get 290 back. The total loss will be just under 100, about 90 plus. And it's momentarily in reserve, which means that you are not getting the power spike that you otherwise could have. If you had 400, you could add a burrow and a kodo right now. And then in 40 seconds, you'll have your kodo with your army. And then soon after, you could go to 55. So that is pretty nice. So he's making an estimation that over the next 2 to 3 minutes, that he's not going to do a 55 food fight for his life.
Does the fact that he stole the item have anything to do with this decision making?
It might. It might. Because you're constantly attenuating your perceived game state based on whether you think the game is going well or not.
Yeah.
Losing Blade wasn't good, but then getting a Shadow to nearly level 3 without getting any additional follow-up losses is pretty nice. And then the item steal was nice. He's also happy with his Blade items, even though he lost his Blade once. He knew that Demon lost his TP, so he's going to be a little bit more careful with reckless moves. So he can't go in for a free kill. Elf can only run into Orc now if he thinks that he's going to have a decisive victory.
Right. Did the Elf here buy back TP?
No, generally people don't do that.
How often do you click the enemy heroes to check their items?
Not often enough.
Okay.
Because I'm washed.
Right,
but you should do it all the time.
Okay, makes sense. Okay, carry on.
Okay. Expos are forks in the road. He can either stop them or he doesn't. If he goes to them, that's travel time, and it pins him somewhere on the map. There are hot areas around quadrants in the map that still have a lot of creeps. So if you think of the top left quadrant, valuable orange camp with medium consume, valuable orange camp with a class +8 equivalent. This is a wand of mana steal camp. All valuable, lots of XP. This one drops class of attack +5 and illusion wand. And this drops unholy aura and a tome. All of it together is worth an insane amount of XP, and it is logistically in the same screen, almost.
Yeah.
Like you can see, if I had horizontal vertical view, then all of them would be no more than a screen away. So the top left is extremely valuable. Now let's think of the bottom right. One, but this one's missing. The big camp and this one. So bottom right, almost equivalent, but Cash knew he already took this away. So I would say that logistically, this is not a very clever expansion because the top left is more valuable than the bottom right.
Mm-hmm.
It has one more camp. If Cash now moved his whole army to the bottom right, he would get 3 camps and the elf would get 4 camps. It is no longer possible to contest the camp if you've already split the map.
But
once you walk to the lab, you are kind of committed to do these two as well, if you know your opponent is doing the same symmetrically top left.
So the only argument here the argument you're bringing forth there is that since this area is where it's likely that the opponent is creeping, the expansion is risky. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
But isn't it also...
Because if Cash decides to split the map and doesn't expand, he will get only 3 camps and the opponents get 4. Let alone that he got this before, it doesn't matter anymore. Because they already split the mid half. Okay, so Cash just cleared this. If he, from this point onwards, decides to split the map, he goes bottom right, Elf goes top left. First, Elf will get all 4 camps and then seamlessly flow into a timing attack on the expansion before it pays off. Whereas if the bottom right was more valuable and Elf was located just to begin this camp, this Arachnithid camp, then Cash can stay in the vicinity of his expansion, clear the more valuable corner, Elf clears the less valuable corner and would then have to walk halfway across the map to attack the expansion, where Cash would be in position because he's doing the top left.
But my thinking here would be that, okay, I'm expanding, but my army is still around. I can compete for the creeps. My army is there in case he just starts attacking me. That to me sounds logically in my head that this is a good expansion because I'm there to defend it and compete for the creep.
Yeah, that's also true. And then the question is, in the inevitable engagement that you meet the Night Elf in, would that current instant Kodo now, which you could have done if you didn't expand, and the instant Overburrow, which could lead to another 1 or 2 units, even if you only go to 53 or 56 pop, wouldn't that help you win the fight harder than if you have this skeleton army?
Which is why I sell my healing ward and buy a Kodo.
You could.
Okay, man, that's so many tiny, like such small. I don't even know how to say it. Like expansion on paper sounds not overly expensive, right? Healing ward, let's say, is worth 300. If I sell it, I can just build a
300.
Kodo, and I'm roughly fine at 50 supply anyway. But if I don't sell the healing ward and I build Expo and don't have a Kodo, suddenly I'm like completely losing the fight potentially. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the question is, if you use Healing Ward mid-combat, how much value is it likely to get? I've seen
Yo, Sing Sing, thanks so much for the
members
raid.
completely ignore a Healing Ward the entire fight and almost lose an 80 versus 50 fight. But the expectation is to become more and more cognizant of that Healing Ward pulsing away healing in the back. That mid-fight healing is probably less good. It's better to lick your wounds as an orc after the fight.
He lost 15 games in a row.
Now, you bring up an interesting point. Let's say if there had been a bigger bank for
I've been
Cash,
there.
and he's able to make the Kodo and an expansion.
Mm-hmm.
It might be good to do then, because even if you make Kodo and an Overburrow, you still wouldn't be able to queue up the second Kodo yet.
Right.
And then you might as well put excess resources into the expansion and make it an option. There are interesting moments where the bottom right of the map is already completely cleared out of creeps, and then you make an expansion there. Those are the really interesting expansions.
Yeah.
Because the elf then has to decide, do I contest the rich top left with you, or do I cancel your expansion?
Oof, decision making. Oof.
So I guess I overcomplicated it a little bit, but if you make an expansion, it is like a lightning rod of attention that forces an opponent to make a decision. Do I address it, do I cancel it, or do I creep somewhere else? The best expansions are in areas that are creep deprived because they create an imbalance in the opponent's movement that they need to go there. When you could then just let your expansion be cancelled and creep somewhere else at the same time. So in your mind, when you make an expansion, you're either saying, I will defend this to the end. So this is what Cash is doing here. He's making an expansion and stays in the area to defend. It is a type of expansion where you believe that even if you have a skirmish, that one extra unit will not win you the game because Night Elves is going to staff, invul, walk away. You both take some bruising, and then you want the backup of bonus income afterwards. And I kind of agree that Orc needs an expansion to be cost efficient with Bear and Orb of Venom.
Okay.
Because there are so much... they heal for free with Moonwa and Bear, and we don't, if you don't have Healing Ward. And therefore, you want the extra money.
Yeah.
So this is a make, expand, and defend it. And sometimes you'll make an expand and distract the opponent. Either you get the expo and you split the creeps in half, or they go for your expo, you get all the creeps.
Makes sense. Thanks again if you're still around. Thank you so much for the raid. I've been watching your stream a bit in the mornings for me while I watch the baby.
Is already finished.
And
so he does a safe
quite
pull
impressed.
Towards the expo.
You're very good.
Night Elf takes the second orange camp. You can say that this laboratory was mostly equivalent to the expansion. It's worth more actually, but I mean they traded one camp each.
Yeah.
With Aspect getting the better camp. Now they trade camp again. Again, this camp is worth slightly less than this orange camp. And he's barely even daring to fight for it because he doesn't have a Kodo yet. He knows that 3 raiders cannot fight bears.
Yeah.
So now he's down 2 camps. Now the red spot, completely uncontestable by Cash. He buys a TP. So now he's saying, I will create a positional imbalance for my opponent who has to walk back. And then I kill one Moonwell, he TPs, I TP. And then he goes back. And then the expo will be running, but
Yeah.
not paid off yet. Now, where does that leave cash? It leaves cash in his base when Elf is in his base. He would then want to take this camp, which is nearest him and valuable. But in doing so, if Elf is instant and beelines for the expansion, he won't be able to defend the expansion. So, 1 camp for 3. 3 valuable camps go to Elf, 1 to cash. And now he's trying to start hit and run, trading double income, projected income. He's trying to trade double income TPs. So if he could do this over and over, he would. TP, Elf TPs, he buys another TP, takes this camp, and then runs at the bottom of the map to Elf base. And then he wants Elf to TP again. And maybe he lets his expo finish, maybe he doesn't. If Elf gets there. That's kind of what Cash wants to do. But I feel maybe he already gave up that he can't win the fight, even with the extra Kodo.
Mhm.
That might be why he never considered even to contest the top left. What do you think?
I mean, I would be scared of the bears, but I'm also not cash. Yeah, in a straight up fighter, I would feel like the army of the Night Elf is way stronger.
I think so too. Maybe because he lost Blade and lost some money because of it.
Mm-hmm.
He thought, even if I get to 50, it's not good enough. Usually you need a 55 orc army minimum to beat a 50 foot Night Elf bear army. You want to be 55 to 60 because Kodos are not good in small numbers. There's no point having 1 grunt, 3 Kodo, and 2 walker because you have no lockdown. So the base skeleton of the army forms from 2 walkers minimum, 2 raiders minimum, and then ideally 1 or 2 grunts. That's like the bare minimum.
Yeah.
From then on, you could add Kodos. That's why we make this pit stop at 46 population with the standard tier 2 army, which is fast produced, moves fast, not slow like a Kodo, and has all kinds of utility. You fit in a Kodo to slot to 50, and then any over money, as you prepare the over burrow, it's always a Kodo and a walker, Kodo and a walker. So you go from 50 to 56 with the second Kodo and the third or fourth walker. And basically from being over 50, you're ready to fight Elf. And I think in Cash estimation, he could not reach 55 or 57 fast enough to contest top left. So he just gave up on it.
Makes sense. So he's trying to play more of a maneuverability game. Force the Night Elf to react, and then he can catch up afterwards.
Yeah.
So
So here, ignore the Ancient of War, get the Moonwell.
okay. Does it make sense here? Like, I mean, like, so in this case, in Cash's spot, you'd probably never want to go to tier 3.
Correct. You over tier 3 in general too much in all of your games.
Makes sense.
But sometimes I also see other invitational opponents, like not your invitational opponents, the opponents of invitational opponents. They
Right.
play against like weird builds where some dude goes tier 3, gets Bloodlust, and then it actually works well.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends what you want to be. You want to do some surprising strats. You want to ask me some surprising strats off stream as well. It's possible. I've given this before to other invitational members. Some either some cheese or some deep tech. It's all possible. Or are you like still in the phase where you're practicing fundamentals? In that case, tier 3 is usually not a part of that.
Okay. I'm fundamentals, but I mean, like, tier 3 seems to be ingrained in some builds with Berserkers, right? So in some cases, I'm going tier 3 anyway.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm not.
With Grunt Raider Walker, what does this get out of tier 3? Can you think of 3 great things you get out of tier 3? There are great things, but can you think of them?
Well, the third tier 3 attack upgrade, tier 3 armor upgrade.
Those are at the bottom of the
there's more
priority list. No, they are really, really far below because they cost like 300.
Well, are there any upgrades that, I mean, like, so not direct upgrades for these, but benefits from other units in tier 3? Or do Raiders and Grunts have their own?
Do you want me to answer it? I can answer it too. What the best things are about tier 3?
I mean, are you talking about Raiders and Grunt in specific now, or tier 3 in general?
What Orc gets when they're not spamming Berserkers?
Well, you can get Bloodlust Shamans. You can get the Orbital Lightning for the Blade Master. So that Orbital Lightning is probably the key. You can buy Tiny Great Hall.
Very good. Yep.
And that's it. Orc sucks.
Kodo drums?
Yeah.
Goes from 10% buff to everything to 20% buff. It's like a clause of attack for your heroes
Mm-hmm.
and an attack upgrade for all your units. Not too bad.
Obviously, third hero can be an option if you go tier 3.
Yep, so that's pretty much the list. Tiny Great Hole, Lightning Orb, third hero, Kodo Drums.
Right.
Those are the best. And then you've got other things like Deep Tech Bloodlust, Deep Tech Healing Word from Witch Doctor, Master Training Walkers can be nice, Burning Oil Catapult. You've got Headhunter with Berserker upgrade. And then finally, all the way at the bottom, 333 upgrades.
I thought initially we were asking what raiders and grunts get, and I was like, I could only think of upgrades.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
That's true. That's all they get.
I know upgrades aren't as important as in my Age of Empires, for example.
Yeah.
Does he have pillage here?
Okay. Most likely it's halfway done. Yeah.
Right.
It's always halfway done. I knew it.
But
I knew it.
but he's planning to come back, so it's fine.
Nope, he'll never come back.
Oh, really?
I mean, the meme is orcs are always halfway done when they do the first building kill because they can't. That's how long it takes. You need pre-planning to make it work.
Yeah.
It takes too long. He would have got 90 gold, 20 wood from this, and it cost 75.25. He would have earned it back.
It's actually crazy how good it is if you get free kills on buildings.
Oh wait, it wouldn't be 90 because Blade did some damage. Blade doesn't pillage.
Right.
But yeah, he would have earned it back. It is actually crazy good, yes.
Hey,
So he
he's
just
coming back.
walked away. If he had speed scroll, he could run away even faster. But he's gonna come back because he knows he now has bonus money. Aspect is making a big mistake camping here. I don't know what the hell he's doing, but I mean,
Oh, he's scared of him coming back.
yeah, but does he even know? He doesn't know.
Ah, he never scouted it.
He's like, oh,
No.
okay, I see.
Now he will realize.
My life for the Horde.
I think he forgot pipe, so he just picked it up because he hastily TP'd.
Right.
So what is he doing now? He's making more bears while camping AFK. And no TP.
Our sacred
Has he not learned about ABC?
Has awakened.
No ABC. Always ABD. He skipped the C. Always be defending.
No, but he's just building up the
Okay.
final piece of his army to go kill him, right?
Yeah, he wanted to go over 50.
Yeah.
So Cash has TP. He was never forced to use it. So that's really interesting because he knows there's an attack coming. Because he has grabbed the win condition of an expansion. He was behind in items, levels, and army quality.
Mm-hmm.
But now his expo is running for a little bit. And because he forced ATP and killed the Moonwell, that's minus 180, minus 325 for the TP. Well, not exactly, because Night Elf didn't rebuy, so it's more like the sell value of the TP was removed, 190. Somewhere between 191 and 324. But now, because he has TP, he's allowed to creep anywhere rather than needing to play Pong against the ball of the attack.
Yeah.
So he can literally go for the furthest, most valuable creep camp, get it, and then use the power that he gets from it.
Ah,
And
so
he would have to...
yeah, I mean, like when I've expanded, I've usually built a burrow here or two for my peons. I guess that doesn't make sense because it's if they get destroyed, I lose supply as well. But I see he's building a voodoo lounge here, so the shop is kind of the defense mechanism that you have your heroes there. You can quickly reinforce with shop.
Yes, but it was in a bad position. It was stupid to build it here. He should build it right here.
Okay.
Because he wanted it here in case he will take a fight from here to here. But timing-wise, it was never going to complete on time because he knows Elf has to attack.
Yeah.
So it's just going to get cancelled. The burrow doesn't do anything against such a large army. It doesn't even win against one bear that gets taken out of the group and left there. It can feel like a nice defense against 2 ghouls or 2 footmen or 1. Well, actually, footmen have defense upgrade, but against 2 ghouls, it's really nice.
Yeah.
And it's nice against single hero harass with staff because you can put them in and hide them, and it's going to last quite a while. Doesn't do too much in a significant fight like this. And I think he's always considered the possibility of sacking the expansion so long as it gives him the rest of the map in creeps.
Makes sense.
If he didn't have TP and he was forced to TP, he would either have to camp here for the inevitable elf attack with level 2.9 blade, or he could give up the expansion and creep the entire bottom right, trading the expo for the other corner, which would also be decent.
Right. He's just taking the red camp, getting the item, and then trying to defend.
Yeah. And he had 2 places he could TP to. Here, so that he could pre-deploy properly, but then he would be maybe forced to fight in the choke. He went for a more open location, and Elf didn't want to get TP'd on top of.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think there was a lot of reason for the Night Elf to go back. Like, if you're not willing to take this fight, then what are you gonna take?
Yeah, he's on the
But he...
timer.
Okay, he brought wisps. So yeah, fight micro. In these kind of fights, I've noticed you lose some overview.
Yeah, it has happened. I would agree with that.
Yeah. How many control groups do you use? How would you group this?
First, just one question before I forget.
Yeah.
When wisps
Yep.
come flying in, do I just let them do their thing?
I mean, it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Okay.
It's really hard to get enough damage, and
Yeah.
the better they are, the more they will detonate at 20% life.
Right.
So
Okay.
you may not get the XP. Your whole army is fighting little wisps of light while bears are mauling you.
Makes sense. All right, so control groups wise, I usually have one control group for range units. So I would mix like berserkers with walkers, for example.
Well, let's say specifically this army.
This army, okay, I would have grunts, raiders, my heroes, and kodos on 1, and then spirit walkers on 2. Sometimes I also put raiders on 3 as well, in case I need to quickly grab an ensnare.
Yep.
And obviously
good enough.
heroes F1, F2.
Yeah, it's good enough.
Okay.
That's one of the 2 formats that I would use.
Is it?
The
But
other one that I... Yeah, go ahead.
the kodo is also a range unit. So if I have a, let's say I eat a bear, does it make sense pull it back and put it on control group 2 and remove it from 1 so it's not in the front line anymore? Or is it a waste of like micro attention?
Yeah, it's the recontrol grouping the kodo during fight. I think will be very difficult to do
Right.
because you have to remove it, re-overwrite 1, and then add it to the second group. I sometimes group like this: Blade Shadow Grunts in 1,
Right.
Raider Kodo in 2, which allows me to press 2 and do ensnare, and then tap Devour.
That makes
It can
sense.
be nice sometimes.
Yeah.
And also Kodos, when they're in the same group as your melee, it makes surrounds harder.
Makes sense.
Does it?
Does it not? They keep interfering with the pathing of the, in quotes, faster units.
Yeah, that too. But it also feels like it changes the hitbox clicking accuracy when you try to click an enemy unit, because it's very strange, but there's something happening where having a Kodo in the group makes your clicks less accurate when you're trying
What?
to surround or click an enemy. Yeah.
Is that true? Why would that have anything to do with that?
I think the Kodo is so big that it thinks of everything as bigger.
Okay.
Not a programming explanation, but just try doing a surround with the MMM left click with and without Kodo
Okay.
in private practice or on your own unit, and I assure you it will feel very different.
Okay.
That's why. But yeah, here in this fight, you're not really gonna do surrounds with M-click anyway.
Yeah,
You would
yeah.
sooner do plus, like where you move this grunt manually here and this raider manually here, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know Hex drops threat?
Hex drop threat, like if it's using an ability, Hex will remove it.
No, if you hex the demon,
Uh-huh.
auto attack no longer targets the hex target.
Oh, that's what you mean. Yeah. I did not know that, but that makes sense.
Okay, so if you had a demon that's 100 life, and you auto attack with all your army, and all of it happens to go to demon because he's in front, and then you hex him, all your army
will
will
de-aggro.
instantly stop attacking.
Right.
Yeah. So you must combine a hex together with a pre-right click or a post-right click on him.
So if I
To make sure that
pre-right
he-
click and they have not engaged yet, and I hex, will they still go to him?
Yes, they will. It's still treated as the same unit, so they remember their command.
Right.
It's only the free fire at will Pepega aim
Yeah.
A move that ignores low threat targets,
Okay.
which a sheep is.
I would agree with that. Can't blame them.
So it's good behavior, but it means that you have to pre-click or post-click very near the hex to make sure that you keep killing off a low unit. I don't know if you've had this problem before, where you're like, your whole army is killing a demon, there's an archer behind, you hex him, and suddenly you wonder why he's not getting attacked, and then
Yeah,
he got staffed.
I'm sure that's happened, yeah. Can I see the supply of the Night Elf here? Just quickly. Oh, he's only 55.
I don't know how that
That
happened.
feels very low.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened. He should be making 2 Dryads. He has money for it, which means he's 61, but it's not all here. But
Yeah.
neither is the 69. So. Okay. Yeah, groups is good. So you can use your control group 2 to target bears.
Mhm.
There's a massive difference in whether you're auto-attacking with walkers or targeting this bear. Because if you auto-attack, it'll go to
Yeah.
this demon.
I want to do magic damage against heavy.
Kodo, the faster it eats, the better. Ideally with a speed scroll in and out.
Yep.
Make sure you're pre-linked. Raiders should never be directly hit by bears. If they are, they have to be pulled back with your control group 3.
Mm-hmm.
Grunts do good damage on heroes. They're one of the few damage types that's not reduced
Yeah.
when attacking heroes.
I feel like more often I will just A move my grunts, or they will be like A move and left alone. More often than not.
That's fine. That's fine. It's fine if they attack anything.
One question: if I have a Kodo on the left
Yeah.
side here, let's say all his bears are on the right, and it will be awkward for me to get to the right. Should I still?
Just eat a Dryad.
Okay, so it's still then worth it to just eat something else.
Yeah.
Than trying to maneuver
But
him all
eating
the
Dryad,
way.
eating Dryad is quite nice too. It digests a lot faster,
Mhm.
and Dryads bring a lot to the Night Elf.
Right.
I think it's worth it positionally as well.
Okay.
This Demon Hunter has no immolation. Otherwise, this fight would be infinitely more complex for the Orc
Mm-hmm.
because of everything is surrounded around it.
Yeah.
I don't know why the fuck he used Invul. That was terrible.
Yeah.
This is essentially he hexed himself. He has made himself not a threat target,
Yeah.
which means all the walkers instantly default to attacking the correct unit. So Aspect spent money on making Orc micro better automatically without effort.
Very kind of him.
Very kind. Got a bear eat. This one also ate a bear.
Mm-hmm.
You asked, should you do anything about the wisp? Sometimes you can take a box, try to kill a wisp, but it draws you out of position so much and away from other attack targets. Usually it's best to just kind of let it happen.
Okay.
The best thing I'll try to do is to split my walkers left and right so they don't all get burned.
Yeah, makes sense.
Wisp are very OP, but it does put him a little bit more all in because Lortec needs a lot of wood, and so he can usually only do this once.
Okay. It is a now and ever type of thing for him.
Yeah. Now the walkers are attacking the demon again, which it's gonna happen to everybody,
Yeah.
but it is very not ideal. One thing you can do with the demon is by far the biggest DPS of the Night Elf army.
Mhm.
So any number of ensnare you do while forcibly moving your units out of his range is a massive, massive victory. All the best Orc victories against Night Elf bear style in the post 50 phase is where you can continually every 3 seconds ensnare the demon out of position. Like with no one touching him. Treat him like
Yeah,
a leopard.
I understand. Yeah, makes sense.
Disenchants to remove Roar can be valuable, especially if they don't have Mark of the Claw upgrade, which allows
Okay.
Druids of the Claw in bear form to use Roar.
Mhm.
Roar is a game-winning item, and they have it on a spell. 25% damage is 2 attack upgrades.
Essentially,
sometimes
scroll the
can be
beast
good.
as a spell.
Yeah, exactly.
Seems fair.
Also, you want to remove rejuvenations.
Mm-hmm.
Very important.
Is there a very clear, easy way to see that they have? I see on the left one, there's a red burning bar or thing over the left bear. I guess that's roar.
Yeah.
And a rejuvenation.
This one has it too.
How do I know that they have?
Rejuve is a... It's like swirling waves of fog around someone.
Okay.
I can show you, but he's not going to do it this fight.
Right. Well, I would say this Night Elf is pretty wrecked.
Yep. Demon almost completely ignored. I think even this focus fire on Demon is wrong.
Right, because the bears are so low as well. Just snipe the bears
Yeah.
and take it from there. But
He
it
got staffed, which means it was wrong.
was a very good example of how a potentially tricky situation was just completely well managed in his favor.
By the elf?
No, by if you go back all the way and like when he just expanded,
Oh,
like
yeah.
how he just maneuvered the whole situation in his favor. Albeit the Night
Yeah,
Elf
it's
never scouted the expansion, which could have changed things, but it was still nice to see
True.
the decision making here.
The Expo was the game winner because he was behind in levels and he couldn't contest the valuable camp despite being logistically close to it. So the Expo won in the game in addition to the TP displacement on the Night Elf.
Yeah.
And then Elf made a number of unforced errors which made him miss the window of punishment. Upgrade-wise, he has 1 armor. Usually attack upgrade, not that valuable. I don't know if you get it usually.
More often than not, I have played into Headhunters, so I get attack upgrades for them sometimes.
That makes sense. They need it.
Yeah,
But Grunt Raider, it's like the best damage here is heroes and walkers.
right.
Raiders are not going to kill bears, no matter how many attack upgrades they have. It will always come down to CC and the blades and walkers attacking.
Right. And in this case, he has
So armor's better.
6 walkers, and I feel like because there's so many bears, that's probably justifiable.
Yep.
Okay.
Probably more than you usually have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, mana pots on Shadow are great. For post mana burn, heal waves.
Yeah.
Can't have enough in this stage.
I also noticed he didn't use Hex once this whole engagement. It was only heal.
Yep, I heard you talk about that as well
Mhm.
with chat on the Orc Mirror. Hex is 70 mana, Dryad Abolish 50. At this level, they're expecting I Hex you Abolish bad trade for mana.
Right.
You see how Demon still nearly killed the whole army?
Yeah. Oh, his demon is the one that once he gets level 6, it's like better than a 70 supply army, or was it?
Yes.
Okay. So note to self, don't
should-
let the demon get 6.
You should see one of Red Panda's games. He had 80 pop, 5-4-3 Farseer Shadow TC,
Okay.
80 pop, Tauren and Wyvern with upgrades. He was against 1 Demon Hunter, nothing else. And
Really?
he lost the fight 3 times in a row.
What? No other unit whatsoever, just Demon Hunter.
Just Demon. But it was level 10, so to be fair.
Okay, that's pretty solid, but still crazy.
Yeah. We should look at one more replay, not nearly as slowly.